Hi, my name is Les and I'm going to be walking you through validating a vocabulary with the KurrawongAI SHACL Validator tool. So what is SHACL? The Shapes Constraint Language is a machine-readable way of enforcing some data validation rules. Today the rules we're talking about is VocPub. Let's have a look at VocPub first so that we can understand what rules we're going to demonstrate. VocPub is a vocabulary publication profile. It sets out rules that have been agreed upon by the vocabulary community that ensures that vocabularies are discoverable and that they indicate provenance and that they're generally well formed. VocPub standard has evolved over a number of years in response to community feedback. The latest specification can be found at linkdata.gov.au here. VocPub specification includes rules for how we apply metadata to vocabulary concepts, collections, and to the vocabulary metadata itself, which is known as the concept scheme. For example, each concept, collection, and concept scheme must have a pref label, which in SKOS is like the name or title of a concept, collection, or concept scheme. That's a pretty obvious example, and this relates to the discoverability and the well-formedness of the vocabulary. VocPub also specifies minimum metadata for any information about agents that are somehow responsible or associated with the vocabulary. For example, if an organisation is the creator, we need to know the URL or the contact email for that organisation, or the vocabulary is not valid. Ensuring that vocabulary users can identify and even contact a vocabulary owner or creator goes to the provenance of a vocabulary. Now, there's nothing stopping you getting familiar with this specification and using it to guide your vocabulary creating and editing. But vocabulary data can be complex, and manually checking a vocabulary against a written specification is tricky, and it's going to be easy to miss things. To make it easier to check a vocabulary against the VocPub specification, the rules have been made machine-readable in a SHACL file, and the SHACL file can be loaded into a Validator tool. We'll show you how to use this tool. Okay, let's go to the SHACL Validator tool where we'll find both the VocPub SHACL Validator and an example vocabulary that has some issues that need fixing. From the KurrawongAI website, select Tools, then select SHACL Validator here on the left. In the Data to Validate form, we will select an example vocabulary, VocPub vocabulary invalid. So now we have an example vocabulary on the screen in front of us. The vocabulary is in turtle format. Now to the SHACL shapes form. A SHACL shape is a specific set of rules relating to some specification. Of course, it's the VocPub specification that we are interested in. Click on Use Validators, and under Validator families, you will see VocPub. Expand this list and let's add the most recent version of VocPub and close. Now scroll down to the Validate button. Let's see what happens. Validation results show some violations and some warnings. We'll just look at the violations for now. The first one refers to the vocabulary concept scheme. There is no created date. Note that there is a reference to the VocPub specification requirement here. You can go and look up requirement 2.15 for more details about this violation if you want. Let's go look at the concept scheme in the vocabulary. You can see here that there is a created date, but I have commented this out with a hashtag for demonstration purposes. Let's remove the hash character. So now that the concept scheme has a created date. Let's scroll down and hit validate again. Note that the violation about the created date has gone. Okay, let's look at the next violation. This has something to do with the agent that is responsible for the vocabulary. The agent must include either a URL or an email address. Up here in the example vocabulary, we can see that here that the agent is an organization, and you can see that the agent does have a URL field, but the URL is given as an IRI. The VocPub standard and SHACL validator is expecting this to be a literal data type, not an IRI. So let's change that. And let's validate this vocabulary again. And the violation relating to the organization has gone. Almost done now. The next violation relates to the SKOS collection. It does not have an in-scheme predicate that connects the collection to the vocabulary. Let's fix that. Okay, let's have a look at those collections. There are two in this vocabulary. They don't have in-scheme predicates. I'm just going to grab one from this concept up here and paste it into the collection block. And into the second one as well. Okay, let's validate again. There you go. No violations. A vocabulary is good to go. There are some warnings though. So a warning in VocCub means that there are some issues that it's recommended they should be addressed, but it's not a hard requirement. And again, you can look up these specifications in the document if you want more information. And that's a wrap. We hope that you'll find the SHACL validator useful for ensuring your vocabulary is aligned with the VocPub profile.